Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the What's Up Cuz show with me, your host, and Lanny, Irvin, the coach. He's the real host of this show here from Chicago today. Hey, Coach Lance, how you doing today, man?
What the heck are you doing? Something is wrong. This
What
time
do
out.
you?
Oh, so you're a Bears fan, huh?
Yeah, that's me,
You a
man.
fan?
I'm Bears fan, man. That's my name. Can't you read it right here? Bears fan, man. How
Bears.
you doing?
So are you trying to say that Bears fans should be ashamed of us losing 5 in a row now, and how we stunk up the field last night, and just talk to me, cuz my fault, Bears fan. Can you please talk to me?
I just
Why
think
are
we
you so
should.
disappointed?
I just think we should be embarrassed to be Bears fans right now, regardless of how many they lost in a row. Our franchise has only won one Super Bowl and only 2 championships in the last almost 80 years. This is just doggone ridiculous, and I can't take it anymore, sir.
Why you can't take it anymore? The McCaskies, and I assume they're doing a great job, but do you disagree? Is there something
I
wrong?
definitely disagree, Coach Lance. I don't know how you can even sit up here and say that. It's an insult to us real Bears
Because
fans.
we took Miss Trubisky over Watson and Mahomes.
Yes,
What was
that's
wrong with that?
That's just one example of the stupidity of this entire franchise, sir. We don't even have an offensive lineman. I think you would go out there and block for us.
But we have such big, strong linemen. We actually let guys run past us and sack our quarterback, and we have wide receivers who's dropping passes in the end zone. Why are you disappointed about that? That's how football is supposed to be played, the way I know it.
I think the offensive line is letting them get sacked on purpose because they don't like them either.
You think they don't like him? What do you mean? They don't like the coach? They don't like the coach or the quarterback. You have to articulate which one they don't like. Who is it they don't like?
They don't like either one of them, Coach Lance.
They don't like both. They don't like Foles either. Just week after week.
Exactly. Week after week, it's the same thing. We're out barbecuing. We're flying flags. We're wearing our Bears pride gear like I am. And look what kind of results they give us. All they do is embarrass us every single week. And I am up to here with it. Just up to here. I can't take it anymore, Coach Lance. We got to get rid of this stupid team.
So what do you assume we should do then, Mr. Bears fan? It seems like, so were you rooting for Aaron? You know what? But we did play against, in my Stephen A. Smith voice, that's a bad man last night.
He might be a bad man and all, but we're a bad football team, so we made him look great. It's absolutely ridiculous that we have to keep tolerating this stuff. And then we got humiliated on national television while everybody was watching. The whole world saw us. Virginia McCaskey was there. The woman is 98 years old. I'm surprised she didn't go into cardiac arrest right then and there.
You mean they had the matriarch of the Bears family out there? I thought that was her, but I turned my head because I felt bad for her. I felt bad for her. Mr. Bears fan, though, what do we need to do? Because lucky there's nobody buying season tickets this year. We just stink. So what do you agree we should do, Mr. Bears fan? Talk to me.
Well, I've been thinking long and hard about this, and I've only come up with one solution, Coach Lance.
And what was that, Mr. Bears fan? What did you come up with? I want to hear it.
Everybody gets fired. Everybody. The ball boy, the water boy, the cheerleaders, the players, the coaches, everybody. You can get on out of here and get us a whole new people. Just sell the team. It's all over. This will never be fixed with the people who are currently in charge. I don't know. Maybe you want to take over. We heard you're not coaching this year. Maybe you can take over the Bears. This is absolutely ridiculous.
You almost sounded like Oprah. You get a pink slip. You get a pink slip. You get a pink slip. So everybody, because we can't fire everybody, can we? Mr. Bears fan. Come on, Bears fan.
Well, I talked to your cousin earlier today, and he said it was okay for me to sit in because he couldn't take it anymore. He was fed up. He said, you, Mr. Bears fan, you, just like a substitute teacher in CPS, you go sit in and you host the show tonight. But my cousin Lance, you tell him I'll talk to him next week.
But Mr. Bears fan. My cousin Jason said at the start of the season, he
Yes,
didn't expect the Bears to do much, Mr. Bears fan.
he
So,
did say that. You know why?
why?
Because your cousin is a very wise man.
He's so wise that he said the Bears was gonna go what? I want to say 5-15 or 5-12 or whatever.
Yep, he sure did. He said when that 5-1 start happened, that it was all a fluke. It was gonna all go downhill from here. And look at what happened. It's all going downhill from here. We should have never beat Detroit that first game, I tell you. That's what set everybody's expectations high. And then the Atlanta Falcons, they gave the Bears another win. So we probably should actually be 3-7 or 3-8 or 3 in the rest of the season because COVID is everywhere, so nobody's gonna play anyway.
But we can't apologize for the wins they got against teams that didn't have starters playing and teams that didn't have their quarterback. So, I think we could get it back together. I think we just need to have one of those kumbaya team meetings. Normally when you playing is bad, everyone has a team meeting. So you don't think a team meeting will work?
Look, Coach Lance, they can meet until the cows come home in Green Bay for all I care. If you keep the same sorry people out there with the same coaching staff, with the same general manager, with the same owner, you're going to get the same results. A great man named Malcolm X said that.
So are you trying to tell me the management, the ownership, they should sell the Bears? You saying we need better owners?
Yes.
A better general manager?
Yes.
What's wrong with Ryan Pace? I think he's been doing a lovely job. Hercules.
What is right with Ryan Pace? He's terrible. He is awful. As is the rest of this team. What can I say? Well, my cousin told me I couldn't stay on this topic too long because I actually need to introduce people to the show. So let me introduce people to the show, okay? Jesus Christ. We got the rest of the show to talk about the Sorry Bear. So he told me to say, welcome to What's Up, Cuz, with your host, sitting in, Mr. Bears fan.
Mr. Bears fan and Lance C. Irvin. We gonna have a great.
He said, make sure you say C because his cousin gets upset if you don't put that C in his name.
I get upset, but you reminded me of, what was it, Al Roker when Mr. Cheesehead ran past him? Was it Cheesehead? I mean, tell Jason better let me know who's going to be on the show next time because Mr. Bears fans, I almost talked about whooping your butt on this show, but because my cousin Maya, my sister Maya is on the show, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to save all my pleasantries or my non-pleasantries when Maya jumps on the show. But anyway, Mr. Bears fan, what's wrong with our running game? What's wrong with our offense?
Everything is wrong. Just everything is wrong. Just don't ask any more questions about them, okay? We're moving on. What's the next segment on this stupid show? Oh, welcome to What's Up, Cuz, everybody. If you haven't downloaded the app for this show already, please do so. You can download the app on Google, Amazon, and what other place? I think he said iTunes is what he told me. And he thanks you for the show. Hopefully you're watching the zone on the SportsZone Chicago app, or you're watching us on the YouTube channel, or somewhere wherever you're watching us. Just thank you for watching. Jesus.
Mr. Bears fan. Kenny McReynolds, that's a friend of the show who I love, said they would never, ever sell the Bears, Mr. Bears fan. I mean, what you think? You think Kenny McReynolds is telling the truth?
I love that Kenny McReynolds guy. Sometimes he wears his good hair and it just makes him unbelievable. So I really love that guy. He's really smart. He's been doing this a very long time. And I agree, they probably will never sell that team, but we got to start somewhere. We got to get these people the heck out of Chicago so we can get us a real team. You know what I'm saying?
Get us a real team. I have people hitting me. Donnie Kirchie said they should not sell the team. So what you got to say about Donnie Kirchie saying they shouldn't sell the team?
I know that Donnie Kirchie guy. I remember him from UIC and a couple other places. He's a really good basketball coach. But we're not talking basketball, Coach Kirchie. We're talking football. They got to get the heck out of here. By the way, the producer is in my ear here, and she says I have to get to some poll question or something. So the poll question is sponsored by the, what's the name of this place? The Chicago Crusader Newspaper. Yes, the Chicago Crusader Newspaper. They're the ones that's helping to sponsor this crazy show you guys are got. and they have a poll question, and apparently they have some poll question results or something here. I get this produced in my ear. Okay, so they got some results. You guys asked a poll question last week. I know the poll question should have been something about the stupid Bears, but I doubt it. Anyway, the results of last week's poll question. If the
Somebody
producer
save me.
lady can help me, she doesn't have numbers. She's just like the Bears. There's nothing that works on this doggone show.
Hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Okay.
I told her, Maya. I told her, Maya.
Look, hold on.
Maya.
I can't listen to the whole show you talking like this. I'm serious.
Maya.
Take the bag off. Have your come to Jesus moment. And unlike the Bears, do your best job and have a great show. Don't play down to your sorry Bears. You got to step up, Jason. So I'm gonna give you a moment to regroup. Take the bag off your head. Okay. And please stop talking like someone has snipped you.
Oh God!
Maya, he's talking like he's trying to get a spot home. Type one of Tyler Perry movie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
You need to
Okay.
be on the Sound of Maya show. Somebody put
There
him
you
on
go.
the Sound of Maya show.
So now I can go back to the other side, which is not Green Bay, by the way. I'm just
But
kidding.
Maya, why is he disappointed in the Bears? I don't understand.
Come on, dog. You saw that nonsense last night, man. That thing was worse than Joseph Phillips' sweatshirt from last week that he wore on our show.
I'm not gonna talk about Cuz like that because Cuz gonna jump on the show. I like talking about people face to face. So I'm gonna leave my little cousin Joseph Phillips alone. It's not his fault. He couldn't remember which city he was in. Jumping on him with that shirt. I'm not even gonna mention what shirt he jumped on him with.
I know, man. It was terrible. But you know, let's get to it. We got a new poll question though. You want to hear this week's poll question?
What's the poll question?
Oh man, we got a great poll question.
Dude.
So here's this week's poll question. And remember, the poll question is sponsored by the Chicago Crusader Newspaper. They've been in existence over 75 years. So for all the weekly news going on in the Black community, check them out at www.chicagocrusader.com. And here's our poll question. After watching the Packers demolish the Bears, what did you do after you turned from the game? Here are your choices. A, started hanging Christmas lights and or shopping online. B, spent time with your family. Oh. C, cussed and then cussed some more. D, swore you are done with them until everyone is fired. And there's also an E, other. So those are your possible answers for this week's poll question. After watching the Packers demolish the Bears, what did you do after you turned from the game? So Lance, you watched at least some of the game last night.
I watched some of it. I was on a Zoom with some of my friends. It's like 17 first through fifth year head coaches. We was on the Zoom, right? I was talking to Chauncey Billups' brother, Rodney Billups, who's the head coach at Denver, right? So he hit me with the, ooh, Lance, y'all bad tonight. Just like my Broncos were bad. So I said, right now, I can't believe how bad we are. He said, well, yeah, at least your team not fumbling the ball like my team. So then Dennis Gates, who's the head coach at Cleveland State, he responded, I'm watching it, big bro, but we're awful tonight. And all the other guys on the call was like, turn that stuff off. Lavelle Jordan from Butler started laughing. Tavares Hardy, who's from Chicago, he was like, ooh, I'm glad I went golfing today. So I sat there, got demolished from my boys watching the game, and we just went on to another subject. I stayed there until the last couple of minutes because I'm a true Bears fan. But, ooh, it was bad. It was bad.
You know, Lance, I felt it was my civic duty and pride to watch the game and my professional responsibility as a journalist and host of this show to actually watch the game. I got through the first half and I jumped on our halftime show with Ivan, and then I kind of tuned out. I started doing a little bit of everything. I started hanging Christmas lights. I talked to my wife for a little bit. So I guess the answer for me might be actually all of the above. That's kind of what I started doing.
I'm waiting to see what my man Joseph Phillips gonna say.
Me too.
I'm waiting to see what Cuz gonna say.
I am too. And so let's go ahead and bring him on. He is the sports editor of the Chicago Crusader. He joins us every week right here to let you know what's going on in the Chicago Crusader. our good buddy Joseph Phillips. Joe, what's up, brother?
What's up, cuz?
What's up, cuz? Wait up, man. Let me get this off my chest real quick. I hear y'all complaining about that New York shirt. One thing you forgot to mention, Lance, make him dance. What shirt did Jason have on last week?
You know what he had on the junior college?
He had on the most corrupt man in the city of Chicago, Richard Daly. And he gonna come at me. That's the most racist man in the century. He the reason why we segregated in Chicago. Don't go there.
I'm letting two younger cousins argue with each other. Y'all can have it. I'm staying out of that argument. What's up, Joseph? What's going on, man?
Oh, man, y'all coming at me, man. I love y'all, man.
You know, I'm leaving you alone, Joseph. You my man. I just want to know what's going on in the Chicago Crusader, what you writing about. I'm not going to even tell you. You need to talk about the Bears. I'm going to leave it alone.
Oh, man, I did a story on the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight.
Oh, Lord.
And I know y'all saw what happened to Nate Robinson.
Nate didn't see what happened to Nate Robinson.
He was the only one didn't see what was coming. You know, everybody was like, Nate, no. And Nate turned around, boom goes the dynamite. So, poor Nate. Let's pray for Nate, man.
Yes.
Yeah, so we writing about him. I'm writing about y'all main man, Adam Miller, in his debut, dropping 28 points on 10 to 12 shooting from the field. I think he hit 6 threes. You know, y'all know what he do.
That man had a great high school coach, didn't he? He had some great high school coaches.
Y'all walking around with them rings on, man, them state championship rings. You know how y'all do it, the Irvin family.
My fault, I left it upstairs. My fault.
It's all good. Y'all did a good job with that young man. Illinois 3-0 right now. And then last but not least, and I know you guys didn't want to mention them, but those Chicago Bears. That was the hardest story I had to write last night because I knew it was a joke before the game started. Once I saw Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace and Virginia McCaskey in the stands and everybody covering their faces as the TV camera pans to them, I knew it was over. And as I said this morning on the Sean and Maya show, time to get another team in Chicago to challenge them. So that's time. It's time to put that petition together. Let's go, Bears fans.
Hey, I said it too, Joe. I'm right there with you. I've been on that train for at least 10 years. Oh, yeah. And I actually wrote a column that's going to appear in the Chicago Crusader this week.
Take it back. Take it back, boy.
No, man.
Take it back.
Take
it back.
I can't, Lance.
Y'all going to make me go there.
Lance.
Another team to challenge my Bears? What?
Lance, do you want to know why? Do you want to know why, Lance?
Yeah, I mean, help me understand. It's basketball season.
The Bears have a monopoly in Chicago because they're the only football team here. So we have no choice. But here's the deal: there's no accountability with them. They can do whatever they want to do.
Yes,
and it's just like segregation in Chicago. It's a monopoly. You know, we have no choice as African Americans. Except moving to their communities. My whole thing is this. It's the same thing with the Bears. It's the old guard. They've been doing things this way for almost 100 years.
True.
They're not going to change. And the only way you can challenge them is by inviting another franchise here. I'm not talking about an arena league team. Let's go give the Chargers a call. I heard Jason saying that earlier. You know, let's go give some of these NFL teams who are being rejected by the city and bring them here. Now, my question to you guys, what would you like for the second NFL team name to be if they do come to Chicago to challenge the Bears?
I got a name for them.
What's that?
The We Ain't the Bears.
Yeah. But the Bears better get their act together, man, because I'm telling you, man, people are getting tired of playing these games with them, man. For real. And I think you tired too, Lance. You just don't know it yet.
I'm to the point, you know, like I bleed blue and orange. Like I've been a Bears fan since I was little. And for us to struggle like we've been struggling, first of all, when you pass over the quarterbacks that you pass over, trying to sell us on somebody that everybody thought was okay, but them other guys we knew would hit. When you do that, those guys better hit. Or we gonna have conversations like we having now. Like he passed over proven veterans And I think Mitch's cool. I'm not hating, but I'm just talking about from the seat that I sit in as a coach right now. When I pass over guys from Chicago that want to come, that can play, I catch hell for it. So somebody else should catch hell too now. I mean, with that being said, he passed over some studs. And you can't do that. And we can only be bad for people get tired after a couple of years. They get tired of saying that. I don't know what you think,
Well,
cuz.
I mean, I think, just from a business decision, the city of Chicago should be trying to get a second team. Just from a business decision, it's going to bring more money to the city. Even if the other team is just as bad or worse than the Bears, it'll still bring more revenue to the city of Chicago. But I think it's time. I think this Bears franchise has had a monopoly on this city's fans. The Bears are the only team that everybody in Chicago kind of unites behind. Okay.
Mhm.
The Blackhawks, hockey is kind of it's not as popular of a sport. Okay. We've got the Bulls, but everyone kind of jumped on the bandwagon when Mike was there. And that dynasty is what brought all those Bulls fans. The baseball teams were split because we got two teams. So it really is about the Bears in Chicago. People live and die with the Bears. And mostly we've been dying for, God knows how long. I mean, we won the Super Bowl in '85, and we went back only one time since then. I mean, we hadn't even gotten close, really. It's ridiculous. And, it's time for us to step up, make some big boy decisions in the city of Chicago, and put some pressure on the McCaskey family to put a better product on the field. I think the city deserves better. I think the fans all around the world, because let's be honest, the Bears fans are not just in Chicago. They are like probably the second or third most popular team. We're still more popular than the Patriots. They just got all those fans when Brady was there. The Dallas Cowboys are number one, and the Chicago Bears are probably number two. Or the Steelers may be number two, and the Bears are number three. But we got fans all over the world, and we deserve better than this. We're the laughing stock of the NFL. We don't have an offense, we don't have a coach, and we don't have a general manager. And our owner is a 98-year-old woman. I mean, what are we doing?
I mean, Jay, then we had Lovey was decent. I think Lovey was 10-6.
He was when they fired him.
When they fired Lovey. So since we fired Lovey, we had Fox, not Nagy, correct? And
we had Tressman.
I forgot about Tressman. So so we've been struggling since we got rid of Lovey, basically.
Yeah, and plus we're the charter franchise of the NFL. Okay?
I was just about to say that,
and I was telling Sean this morning, if Papa Bear Hallis would have see all this, everybody would have been fired. You see what I mean? Like, he wouldn't have tolerated any of that. Just like he said on the '85 Bears documentary, the defense wrote him a letter because he was about to get rid of everybody. The defense wrote him a letter and said, "Hey, I understand about to make changes, but whatever you do, please don't get rid of Coach Buddy Ryan because we need him. He's groomed us. He developed us. Please let him stick around." And he took that letter to practice, and he says, "You guys have a lot of guts." And he says, "Not only you got a lot of guts, because I just got rid of one of the guys that I love the most, is to keep Buddy around. So you better go out there and perform, or I'm gonna be in what. You see what I mean? So My whole thing is we don't have that type of accountability anymore. Virginia McCaskey is not gonna come to practice and say that. She's gonna be like, "Man, I have some tea and I have some cookies," and it's gonna be like that's who's running the organization right now. And I'm not saying she's not tough. I'm just saying that she's very soft-spoken. You're not gonna really hear her say a lot.
Right. And the thing is, the people that the McCaskey family has put in place to be that person ever since George Hallis died, all of them have been failures. Sometimes you can't turn your family business over to your children because your children don't understand what it took to get the business where it is.
Right. Because
it's been given to them. They didn't put the hard work in to build it. So they don't have the same type of appreciation for it as you who built it. For them, it's a cash cow. And that's all they've been using it for.
Exactly, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're milking the clock. And the Bears, don't get me wrong, they have 9 championship titles, including 1 Super Bowl, okay? Yes, we're champions. We were the original dynasty. That was way back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and one time in the 60s. My whole thing is this. It's just like the New York Yankees, okay? When George Steinbrenner passed away, and he passed the team over the house down from him.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they felt, they was like, man, how he's a money man. You know, we feel he's not going to do what it takes necessary to win this championship. And guess what? He was like, you know what? We won't win this one from George, okay? And that's what we need out of this Bears organization. We need to take it back a little bit and remember our competitiveness. Like, and if not, we need to change our names because we're not playing up to the logo. We're not playing up to the black and blue that we wear on that field every day. We're not intimidating anymore. People are disrespecting us. Aaron Rodgers disrespected us yesterday. He always does, but yesterday was just ridiculous.
So you guys think it's the ownership's problem that we need to have somebody more aggressive and assertive in that position, or somebody that understands talent?
I think it starts at the top, Lance. I think it starts with ownership. They have to, first of all, hire. First of all, before they even get to the general manager coach, they got to get their upper management structure in place. Mm-hmm. Okay, we know that the people, whoever it is that does marketing and make the franchise money, they're doing a great job because the Bears are making a whole lot of money. Right. That ain't even a question. So they're doing great with that. But once you get down to the football operations part, that's where they've got a complete crap show going on. You've got to get the right scouts. You've got to get the right general manager. They don't even draft the right people, you know. So that's before you even get to a coach. All right. So we got to get the right scouts, the right development people in there. You got to get the right general manager in there. Then you got to hire the right coach. That coach then has to fill out his coaching staff and hire the right coaches. And then you get down to the players. It starts at the top. And what I'm trying to tell everybody is at the top is terrible in Chicago. And they need someone to compete with them. And you will get the old school people who are saying, oh, we can never get a second team in Chicago. Let me tell you something real quick. Them 35-year-olds and under who ain't never seen a Super Bowl in Chicago, they don't give a damn. If we brought in another team tomorrow from the USFL or the Arena League and brought it in, because they would say, okay, well, at least I got two teams I can pull for now. They don't care. And for those of us who are 55 and younger, you've only seen one championship. So you ain't really got nothing to really pop off about either. I'm tired of talking about 85 Bears. The 85 Bears are tired of everybody talking about the 85 Bears. Right. It's a disgrace what has happened to that organization. It's a disgrace what they're putting the fans through. And the fans needs to hold the organization accountable. And I'm serious. And that means not buying merchandise. That means not supporting this team. You know, the thing I love about being a White Sox fan is when you put a crappy team out there, we do not show up at the game. Exactly. And the Cubs fans will crack on us.
COVID-19 before COVID-19.
Sure was, you know, and the Cubs fans will crack on us for that. But, you know, people in Chicago are still considered a blue-collar city, and people are not going to spend their money to see crap in, crap out, because you're working too hard for your money because the city is taxing you to death, and they got all these fees and fines. And you need every dollar you can get. So if you're going to fork over the money to actually go watch one of these teams play or go and buy their merchandise, and then they show this level of disrespect to you by putting that crappy product out on the field, they don't need my money no more. They don't need my money no more. So it's going to be real interesting next year when fans are allowed back into the stadium after COVID, how many fans actually come back. So
let me ask you this real quick. What star do we have on the offensive side of the ball? Because you need a star on offense, don't you?
Allen Robinson. We got Allen Robinson, but as you saw last night, he went to the middle of the field and personally shook Aaron Rodgers' hand and told him, "Get me a jersey ready because these guys don't get it over here."
Yeah, tell me about it. So, Joseph, hey, thanks for joining us. We're going to get ready to take our first commercial break. Lance will come back with me for a couple of seconds just so we can introduce our next guest. But you are watching the What's Up Cuz show right here on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey y'all, this is the grandfather, Tony Allen. Listen up, it's time to be first team all defense against the coronavirus. Here's a few tips. You gotta lay low, stay at home as much as possible, and please stay away from the crowds and gatherings. The more social distance from others, better for all. Even if you don't feel sick, stop the spread and play lockdown defense. Enjoy all the good Memphis restaurant food you want, but please make it takeout or delivery. If you feel sick, do not go to work or the store. And yes, I know you hear this a lot, but wash your hands. We're going to get through this, but we've got to work together like a team to make it happen. For more information on the coronavirus, go www.cdc.gov. And remember, first team all defense.
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cubs? I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lance C. Irvin. We spent the first half hour talking about the Bears. Thank God that's over with. We don't have to talk about them no more. And we want to kind of go on a different subject. That's kind of what our show tonight is going to be about. And it's JUCO colleges and their important role in small college, D2, D3. So many different levels to the NCAA that I don't think the average fan knows about. And these schools put out players as well. And these are student athletes who are out there getting a good education and come on to society as well. But we very rarely talk about them and the opportunities that are out there. And Lance, just real quick, because I know you have to jump off of this segment and the one following, but, just real quick, how important are JUCO programs to the overall Division I programs in basketball?
Junior college programs are key because most of the time you're going to get a player that's a little bit older, that's probably a little bit hungrier and basically more physical than probably what you can get at a high school level most of the time. But we use those guys to fill in the need right away. And truthfully, Jason, like you said, I was glad you was asking about this sections because I think they've been overlooked for the last couple of years. And with COVID going on now, I'm happy they were able to tell the kids, hey, if you want to stay, you can opt out like they have been in Division I. So, but, great idea for you. And I'm happy that we can have these two coaches on so they could talk about junior college athletes.
All right, cool. Well, we will see you a little bit later on. I'm going to get ready to bring on my first guest here to talk about this subject. And Maya's going to help me a little bit with this interview as we kind of get going here. But this first guy we got coming on, he's a longtime football coach in the Chicago area. If any of you all have ever been out to the College of Dupage, it's not only a beautiful campus and everything they have out there, but the College of Dupage has got a large student body. They've got a full athletic program. They have many different sports out there. And this guy had been out there for a very, very long time, I'll say, but now he is celebrating retirement. Congratulations to him. He has retired as the head football coach, but we're going to bring him on and give him a heart. Welcome to What's Up, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for asking me to be a part of your awesome show.
Yeah, we really want to, talk about, the small colleges and the JUCO colleges and what you all do on the larger sports landscape for college sports. So I just kind of want to come out the gate and just ask you, I don't think people really know, Coach. So just tell us what you all provide to the NCAA sports athletic complex as a whole.
The biggest thing I think junior college is it's a game changer for kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a game changer. We adjust, and I know there's a lot of perceptions out there, but it's an opportunity for kids to get another year to develop, another year to get re-recruited. If there's academic problems or deficiencies that need to get taken care of, they have that opportunity there. But there's also a whole other group of kids that in high school, and I've coached every level from high school to Division I. And a lot of kids in high school develop late. Like they just start coming into their own their senior year. So that's the other element that junior colleges provide is that a kid, he's under the radar. He doesn't maybe play a lot his junior year, but really has a great senior year. And all of a sudden, he knows he can play at a high level, but those opportunities, because he maybe didn't play a lot as a junior or he got hurt, which is the other case a lot of our athletes do. They get hurt. Go fly under the radar as far as recruiting goes. That's where the junior colleges provide a great landscape and an opportunity for kids to get 20 pounds heavier or 10 pounds, lighter or faster or stronger. And, obviously, it helps them with academics too. And it's extremely cost efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said
everybody we play in football, and excuse me.
No, I was going to say, I think
everybody we play.
Go ahead, Maya.
I think you made 2 points that really people need to listen to. One, it's cost effective. And I think especially for some individuals, the transition from high school to college, that junior college academics it's manageable. The experience is far more manageable than, you leave home, you're overwhelmed. You kind of still get to not have the anxiety or all the responsibility of being away necessarily sometimes. And sometimes it depends on where you go, though. But I think it's a good transition for a lot of younger individuals.
Yeah, you're right on. That's perfect. That's perfect. And it's a nice transition, like you said. It's a great transition from kids to go from high school, and it's really all inclusive, and that's the one thing that I will tell you, that it's not there's certain kind of kids or certain kind of situations that junior college, entails. It's every situation and it's every kid.
Mm-hmm. Coach Foster, let me ask you this. I know a lot of kids, if they're playing football and they want to play in college, they're thinking, I want to go to USC. I want to go to Notre Dame. I want to go to, University of Miami or whatever. Do you get a lot of kids who have that type of potential but may have other issues that are preventing them from getting there? Or are you getting kids who don't have that level of talent, but they can still play and get at least a portion of the education paid for by coming to a school like College of Dupage?
Well, as far as that goes, we get a lot of kids we want those kind of kids that have those kind of aspirations, both athletically and academically. Because all the schools you mentioned are great schools too. So we want kids that aspire to those things, that feel that they can compete in the classroom and on the field at that level. What's unique here is the landscape for junior colleges. It's either scholarship or non-scholarship. So a lot of your top tier kids are going to go to the scholarship schools, where we are a non-scholarship school.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it comes to recruiting. We got to see something that other people miss. We see something in a kid that, he had, like I said, he didn't have much of a junior year. He had a great senior year. And it's basically, you're the conduit. Okay, all he needs is an opportunity, and he needs the stage to go against those Division I kids. And that's how our kids end up getting their scholarship. We've had, and I'm not trying to brag, but we've had over 70 kids get Division I scholarships since I've been there. And they came in with nothing, They just wanted an opportunity to compete in, like I said, the field and the classroom. And really, it really goes to recruiting in that respect, because, each place is unique to itself. And I think that's true with everything, But for us in particular, we've got to see things because the top tier kids are going to be offered scholarships at other junior colleges, if that makes sense. So most of the time, we're not going to get those top tier athletes. You know, we've got to be really good recruiters as far as finding, hey, this kid is just as good as that kid, but he got hurt half his senior year, or didn't play his junior year, or he was in an area that, you know, he didn't get his film out a lot, or wasn't highly recruited. And, you know, those are all the situations that happen. And that really, really helps a ton of kids. That's why I said it's a game changer. You know, because for most, at least in my experience, most of the kids just need an opportunity. They just need a shot. You know, and that's where I think junior colleges are awesome at providing. And, you know, to earlier discussions, that we fit a need for the 4-year colleges where they're looking specifically, and coaches will call me up and we've had kids go to, I currently have a kid playing at North Carolina. We've had him at Illinois. We've had him at Texas Tech, all these major programs. But they call up and they say, hey, listen, I got a couple kids at this position, but they're young kids. I need somebody right now that's ready to go, that's got some college experience, can handle the classroom, who's mature and can come in here right now and play. You know, and that's where the need you know, come.
From a sports standpoint, I know that a lot of junior colleges don't necessarily offer all sports programs, but if I'm correct, is College of Dupage, are they one of the few junior colleges that have football? I know that Joey at junior college used to have football, but isn't College DuPage one of the few like JUCO programs left for football?
Yeah, we're currently the only one that still has football in the state.
Okay.
I was actually an assistant back a long time ago in the 90s when we had a whole conference. Harper did, Joliet did, Rock Valley did, Triton did, right in Chicago did. I mean, Thornton did. So there was a big conference, and that's slowly going away. So we're the only one that right now currently offers football.
Now, let me ask you this, Coach. How does that affect your scheduling? You just spoke about a lot of teams who used to have programs. Of course, that cut down your travel. But, you know, now how do you all have to who do you play? And how, you know, what does that do for scheduling? And, of course, how does that affect the budget over there at College of DuPage, too?
Great question. It's number one on my on my list to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to keep it cost effective. Long story short, it's very similar when I coached Division III. Not here. I used to coach at North Central, but when I was on the East Coast, and we had to travel. Most of our travels 6 to 8 hours, and it's not light, but it's not that bad. When we do have games that we have to play that are longer than that, we usually try to meet at a neutral site. And the neutral site is really a great thing because it's a recruiting thing too. We played at Southern Illinois, we played at Morehead State, we played at University of Toledo in the last couple of years. And it's great because those schools want our kids, and they've offered our kids scholarships, but they're on campus. They get a chance to see the facilities. They get a chance to eat there. And it really cuts down our costs as far as everything, hotels, buses, everything, because we're only traveling a handful of hours as opposed to a long distance trip. The landscape for football, really honestly, across the country is really similar to what we have, even though we don't have our old conference, which everyone was close, because all the schools in Kansas and Texas and Mississippi are not, I mean, they're 5-6 hours apart minimum. You know, some of them, even in state, if you're going from one school in Kansas to another, you might be traveling 10 hours. So, you know, the cost and the scheduling isn't really that bad, and really it's helped us in this respect. It allows us to play some of the best people in the country, which is really what I want. I mean, if you're shooting for excellence, that's what you want. You know, you want to go against the best, and that's really the name of the game. So we have an opportunity to play some of the top programs in the country because we're independent currently, and actually we're just heading into a new conference in 21. So I hope that answered, because we're very similar to most junior colleges in that respect, because most of the schools, even in, like I said, in other conferences in other state, the travel, you know, the schools are pretty much spread out, you know, so there's some decent amount of travel for everybody.
Sure. So let me ask you this, Coach. Obviously, I know the city colleges shut down pretty much all their athletic programs once COVID hit. Yep. My major concern is that we're possibly going to lose a lot of these valuable resources at these small colleges and junior colleges because of COVID and what it's going to do economically to these schools. And it would be a tremendous loss. Can you just kind of speak to that on what the COVID pandemic has done to the smaller colleges like College of Dupage Athletic Department?
I think really honestly, it affects the smaller schools tremendously. And I can't really speak to the big schools because I'm not at a big school, but I'm just taking it here. All the smaller schools, whether it's the College of Dupage or, Concordia or anybody else that's a smaller school, we don't have the resources typically that everyone else does. And so it does affect you. It affects tremendously. The long-term thing. And I can't agree with you more as far as how important the community college is, just period. You even forget the sports for people to take their step. And I've taught at the community college. So, that's why I say it's a game changer, not just sports-wise. We have tons of people that come. They're currently working a job, but they want to move up or change careers. And that's where the community college comes in tremendous. It's a tremendous asset. Taking classes in the evening because they want to go from their current career to a nurse or something like, anything. And that's where the community college is huge, absolutely huge. And obviously for the athletes, right now it's huge. And I think with what's going on in Division I and COVID and everybody getting a waiver year, it's kind of slowed down recruiting at the top tier levels, at the Division I levels. And that's where, again, the junior college or the community college is vital because of what's going on in the NCAA granting the Division I guys a waiver. Well, typically in a recruiting class, they're going to, all the coaches are going to look and say, hey, we've got, 20 kids that are going to be leaving this year. We have 20 scholarships available. We need 2 running backs, 6 linemen, blah, 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 blah. Well, right now, a lot of those kids might stay they're playing this year, but might play next year because they've been granted that waiver year, keep their scholarship and go to grad school. Awesome. But how does that affect the high school kids? How does that affect the junior college kids? Yeah, it affects both the high school and junior college recruiting tremendously because now there's a log jam. There's a log jam. And that's where I think a lot of kids are going to, conceivably look at a community college and say, listen, I know I'm capable of playing at this level and under normal circumstances. You're not dealing with COVID and the waiver year. I'm not getting the offers that I should get. I'm going to consider junior college because I could go there for a year and then move on to Division I. So I think the viability of junior colleges right now with COVID is critically important. Critically important.
That's interesting because I don't think a lot of people actually probably stopped and thought about that waiver here and how that's going to kind of affect the matriculation of everybody moving forward, so to speak. So you're right. I guess for you, that kind of creates a really unique opportunity to kind of to bring individuals in and a good growth point for them from maturity wise, just not academically, but obviously, getting, it's interesting. And I like to believe that the junior college experience in sports is probably different than, let's say, obviously a 4-year university. It seems like it can be more personalized.
Yeah.
The interaction and relationships you have with your coaches is probably far more intimate than it is often at larger schools. Yeah. I think that idea of teamwork is there in competition, but it's probably not as intense as when you are at 4-year schools.
You know what? You're spot on with everything, and the only thing that kind of is different is what you just said, because by the very nature that it's a 2-year school, and you have a very short time with your student athletes, and everybody's on a mission. They have their goals. They've got to go from A to B to get to C. So it's a very intense relationship, because you don't have in 4-year schools that, you could redshirt a kid, you could blue shirt a kid, you can do all those kind of things. You might have a kid for 5 years. So the relationship kind of it's not as intense, and you can really start to get to know a kid his sophomore, junior year. But where we have to hit the ground running. It's intense. It's an intense thing. And it's like nobody has time to mess around. We have to hit the ground running with everything we're doing in order to achieve our goals. So it's kind of really cool that way because, at least in my experience of coaching at four-year colleges and also community colleges, it's a very intense relationship. And it's in a great way is what I'm trying to say. It's a great way because you don't have any time to mess around, because it's just the nature of it. I mean, with both the student athletes and, everything that you're trying to accomplish.
I'd also have to think that, you have those kids who feel like without a doubt I can play at this level, and they maybe or they can't. It's if they don't get the scholarship, obviously people feel differently. But then you learn about these kids who want to be a walk-on. Right. I mean, to be a walk-in at a four-year school in some cases, like you're selling your soul, like financially down the road. Which realistically, it would make far more sense to go to a junior college where if you're forced to pay out of pocket for your tuition, then without a doubt, it's so much more cost effective. I always push to people that always have your kids think about a junior college before a 4-year because it gives them that time to mature academically and it's not financially going to kill you. Why pay $2,000 for an extra for the same class? Yep. And actually, College Dupage has a lot of good structure in what you can major there. In fact, probably I'd say a little bit better than Joliet Junior Colleges, which is one of the older colleges. Right. But College Dupage really has a lot of good structure in what you can major in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to to follow up on Maya's point, Coach, I've always said, English 101 is English 101. It doesn't matter if it's at Yale or if it's at the College of DuPage. You still got to learn subject-verb agreement. And not comma splice all over the place. So I'm with you all 100% there. Coach, let me ask you a couple of things before we get you out of here. Once again, we're joined by Matt Foster. He's now retired head football coach over at the College of DuPage. The scholarships, how many scholarships can you all offer, or if you can at all? And tell me a little bit about the Red Grange Bowl, which I know you had a part of kind of getting off the ground here.
Positively. Scholarship-wise, like I said, we're non-scholarship. And historically, that's the same with Joliet and all the teams that we used to play. And so we don't offer scholarships. And it varies from school to school, the schools that do offer and how much they can package. So I guess it really kind of goes to an endowment thing and how much money they have available to give and how they want to break it up. For us, that's why I said it's so neat, because our kids, really honestly, it's old school. Our kids work basically part-time jobs. They go to school, they do football, basketball, tennis, whatever it might be, whatever sport it is, but they're all basically engaged, not just in the sports in school, but most of our kids are working part-time jobs, and honestly, so they end up not having to pay for anything when they go to school. So it's old school in that respect, and that's why it's near and dear to my heart, because the kids that springboard out of here are unbelievably special. They're old school tough. I mean, nobody's giving them anything. They're earning their scholarships. They're earning everything that they're doing. Most of the kids are working some job part-time while they're going to school, which I have tremendous respect for. So that's really the landscape there for us. And the bowl game, Red Grange grew up probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from our campus. And so, there's nothing at the national level for the non-scholarship national champion. So that's where the bowl game came together. Is there's about 5 or 6 bowl games at the national level for junior college football, and the Red Grange Bowl is the non-scholarship national championship. So it gives schools like us and other schools like us that are non-scholarship, back in the day, Joliet, whoever it might be, an opportunity to compete for that top-tier spot as the best non-scholarship school in the country. And the other piece with that is I'm just a big believer in this, is a big part of the bowl game is giving back, because that's one of the things I think young athletes got to understand, that they're role models and that they got to give back to the community. So a big piece of that bowl game is we raise funds for the Ronald McDonald charities, and we do community service. Both teams, when they're participating, have to do community services. It's just a reminder that, when you make it to the top level, that you're always going to have your hand reaching back to help the next person coming up. So that's kind of the bowl game in a nutshell.
Wow.
Nice. Okay.
That's really good. Well, Coach Foster, hey, once again, thank you so much for joining us here on What's Up, Cuz. You know, our show is very diverse, Coach. We started back in July, and we try to touch on a lot of different topics, you know, that other sports shows in the city and frankly around the country don't touch on. And I just think the junior colleges and the small colleges, and we're going to have more guests on from small colleges. I know we're going to talk to some people from Elmhurst College, you know, in the coming weeks. You know, I just think they're a diamond in the rough, and we have to continue to support our young people in their dreams, not just the ones who go to the big name schools. But, you know, I went to a 2-year school. I graduated from Daly College before I went on to my 4-year university. And, you know, for a knucklehead like me, it was definitely something that I needed. So thank you for all the years that you put in work over there in College of DuPage. And thank you so much for joining us. But before I let you go, because you're a football coach, can you tell me something?
Why you don't do it? Don't do it, Jason. Don't do it.
How would you fix the Bears, Coach?
you know it was coming, Coach. You knew it was coming.
Wait, I didn't hear.
Oh.
That's probably the best answer, but I'll repeat it.
Was that an easy exit?
So, how would you fix the Bears, man?
Oh, jeez. You know what? Honestly, I mean that's a long discussion. And professionally, here's what I do. And I program through other coaches. I just don't publicly do that. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, there's a lot that needs to get done with the Bears to get them in a championship level. But I don't care if it's the Bears or some guy out there trying to coach his kids in a Pop Warner situation. You know, he's trying to do the best he can. I'm going to keep my opinions to myself. And I want to thank. I just want to thank you. I'm dead serious. I thank you so much for taking, you know, for reaching out to me and spotlighting junior college and spotlighting. It is a game changer for kids. It's a blessing for so many, and I cannot thank you guys enough for bringing this to people's attention, to having me on here tonight. Not necessarily for me, but for junior college sports in general. And I'm forever in your debt. And God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I got you. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, that was Coach Matt Foster. Man, I learned a lot, you know, and I know our second guest, we're going to learn even more with him. But that was a lot to learn, you know, that his school doesn't offer the scholarships, Maya. So those are kids who are just really out there, you know, trying to follow their dream, you know.
And I actually don't think I even realized until it was brought to my attention that Joliet Junior College doesn't even have their football program. I knew a lot of kids that played in the area that if they didn't go away to school, they would play there. I didn't know that they're like the only junior college left with a football team. But they're making it work, and I kind of like the travel and, you know, experiencing talent, you know, in different places. I mean, that makes it even better for those who, you know, obviously really want to pursue something more from it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always opportunities for young people. I mean, when I coached basketball, I had one player that went Division I from my church league, and that was Jeremy Pargo, who also spent a little bit of time in the NBA and played overseas. But for the most part, the kids that I coached, when we got them into schools, we got them into smaller, you know, colleges. You know, we got them into these smaller colleges. Some of them were junior colleges. Some of them were D2 schools, you know, but the experience and the fact that I know those kids went and got an education, and now I see what they're doing, you know, these almost 20 years later, you know, how successful they are in life. And, you know, they say, hey, Coach, you know, I really learned a lot, you know, just playing with you guys on the travel in the church league and, you know, those opportunities.
I always say to people that junior colleges are such a viable option for college. I said, because those classes that you pay all that money for at four-year universities, you can almost take them at a junior college for, like, I'd say seriously saving like 70%.
I agree.
I mean, I got to a point sometimes when I would come home from college, I took a couple of courses at junior colleges and then transferred them back. Because why sit there and pay thousands of dollars for general electives, which, by the way, you keep rehashing the same classes you took your entire damn life. Also, one does is just add an extra layer of information to it. So if you paid attention clearly in history, you were going to probably, or chemistry, you were going to be okay. So it's like, why keep repaying for those exact same classes? It makes no sense, especially right now in the pandemic. I would tell you, if your kid's in a four-year school and they're like kind of e-learning or not on campus, you should have made them just like honestly think about going to a junior college at this point.
I agree.
Saving a whole lot of money. Seriously.
I agree. And we're going to talk about that with our next guest as well when he comes back. And then you and I and Lance, we can chop it up in the last segment too, because we got a lot of thoughts on that. You know, black people always try to save money too, man. So
With that being said, we'll go to break.
We'll go to break.
African Americans here and across the country are contracting coronavirus at higher rates than others. People of color and those with underlying health conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, and asthma are being hit hard. Please protect yourself and your family. Wash your hands often. Clean and disinfect frequently touched items. Wear a cloth face covering in public places like the grocery store where it's hard to social distance. More importantly, stay at home as much as possible. Your safety and the safety of our community depends on it.
Compassion, noun. Sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. We're all born with it. It's in us. Don't believe me? When you hear a baby cry, something pulls at you. You want to ease that pain. You want to soothe that hurt. No one had to teach you that. It's called compassion, and it's in you. However, at some point you turned it off when it came to me.
Me.
The cries of my soul have gone unheard, but today, you will hear me.
My heart has wailed a melody loud enough to shatter your ears and you ignored me. But this week, you will hear me.
This body has beat the drums of anguish, only to be silenced. But this month, you will hear me.
This year,
this decade,
this century,
I will be heard. And
you will be the one to hear me.
And when I am finally heard,
show compassion.
Show compassion.
Show compassion.
Remember, it's in you.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin sitting over there, Lancy Irvin. And Cuz, what did you learn from the interview there with Coach Foster, if you were able to listen in?
You know, I thought it was great. And anytime we have the opportunity to help our kids, no matter if it's Division I, Division II, junior college, small schools, like you said, I think it's great. As long as we have the opportunity to get a quality education, that's all that matters to me. As long as these schools helping us, like I said, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, your brother Mike played at a. Did Mike play at a JUCO for a period
Mike
of time?
played at a junior college. Mike went to Parkland.
There you
Boy,
go.
you got a great memory, cuz.
I know.
Your memory is impeccable. And you know what? I went to junior college for 1 year also. I went to Triton.
There you go. Well, see, there you
We
go.
had a football team when I was there.
Triton is also. Didn't Kirby Puckett play baseball at Triton?
Boy, you know you got a good memory. Boy.
Man, I'm on today.
Puckett, that was that man. Ooh, now Kirby couldn't hit my fastball though, cuz I would have read back through that. I would have looked at Kirby, got that sign. Here come that.
Thank you, Maya.
Like I said, here come that heater curve. You don't want none of this. Bow, strike one. Then I would have set him up. I would have threw that thing inside high might, and I would have set him up. Here come the breaking ball. And I would have looked at curve.
And the ball would have been flying over the fence at 450 feet.
No, the hell it wouldn't. Here come that next
Yes,
curve. Here come that Nolan Ryan fastball. I would have put the two seams on that
Oh.
thing red back.
Yeah, it's definitely time to take him off now. He
Yeah.
lost his
We
mind.
could dream. What's wrong with dreaming?
You keep that dream, cuz. We'll holler at you by half a piece.
You gotta dream big. Y'all so shallow. You know what, cuz? Let me say this. You acting
Bye-bye.
funny since Maya on the show with you. I'm out here anyway. I'm out
Bye-bye.
here.
That's
I'm
right.
outta
You are. You're right. Goodbye.
That boy. Lord have mercy. Get him out of here. So anyway, once again, welcome to What's Up, Cuz. If it is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download the app, the SportsZone Chicago app. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on iTunes, you can get it on Google. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to us. We're here every Monday from 6 to 8 Central Standard Time. If you're watching us on the app, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, we sure appreciate it. If you have comments for the show, go ahead and put them in. We'll try to get up as many comments as we can. And tonight we're talking junior colleges and small colleges. And our second guest to join us to talk about this subject, he is currently in his third season as the head coach of the men's basketball team at Southeastern Community College, which is in Iowa. And he has his own starting five, Maya. He got 4 sons and a daughter.
Wow. Wow. And wow.
I bet you the daughter probably run her brother's ragged. She's probably the boss of the whole unit. But we're going to bring him on, and we thank him for joining us, Coach Lorenzo Watkins.
Hello, how are you? We can't hear you.
Oh, now you can hear me.
Oh, now we get it. There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, I'm just glad y'all got instigating LC off there, man. Boy, he ain't changed a bit. Unbelievable, man.
Hey, man, you know how it is with family. You know, you got to deal with them. You can't kill them. So,
how y'all doing? Thanks for having me on today, man. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, man. We really want to do something on this subject. In terms of the small colleges and the junior colleges and what you all offer. So you're getting a little feedback there. I don't know if that's your speakers, Coach.
Is it me?
Might be me.
Let's see.
So let's see. Yeah, I think it might be your speakers. That's a little better though. Okay. Can you hear us still?
Yeah, y'all good.
Okay, good. So let me just ask you, tell me a little bit about what you do at your school in terms of bringing in student athletes, and what type of student athletes are you kind of bringing in as the kids who don't qualify academically? Just because I know it kind of runs the gamut. Just kind of give me a little bit of your background out there in Southeastern and what you all trying to do.
Well, I've been back here now 12 years, third year as a head coach. So, junior college product. I graduated from high school in Virginia. Mom and dad, military, so travel around a little bit. Came to Iowa, played at Indian Hills for 2 years. Finished there, went to Idaho State, finished out there, coached there for 2 years, then came back and coached at my alma mater, Indian Hills, for 3 years as an assistant, then was a head coach for 4 years. So big time JUCO product, man. I had been at Division I for roughly about 10 years, and now I'm back here in Iowa, which is, we always talk about the full circle, and that's what's amazing. It all came back, full circle to where I, started at in the same league, but different school. Actually it's my rival, so you can imagine when I go back and it's only an hour, 10 minutes down the road. So it ain't pretty, but I still got a lot of respect for those people in Ottumwa, Iowa, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today or have the opportunities I had I have had to put me in this situation if it wasn't for community college. And, you know, growing up in Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia, and, you know, being in, you know, a little different environments than being in the Midwest and in a different area in the Midwest, if you know what I mean. So, and it was a culture shock for me. And just like the kids we recruit now, a lot of our inner city kids, I mean, 90% of my kids are inner city kids. I mean, from every borough in New York to, you know, international kids. And so first generation kids, first ever been out of the state of New York, you know. So a lot of it is, you know, from when we get them in here from August into, you know, getting prepared for basketball is the last thing, you know, that I really concentrate on with these kids is because it's just such a big culture shock for them. And, you know, I got to get, you know, them to adapt to the environment, you know, and it's amazing. I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about some. I always tell LC it, you know, I wrote a junior college, community college book that I'm going to publish here in about 15 years about some of the, you know, the adventures of some of these kids and, you know, where they came from. Because, you know, and LC would know because some of the stories we talk about of going into some of these kids' homes and me coming back and explaining that to my administration and getting them to understand where some of these kids come from. And you'll see they jaw just drop, you know, and it's like, no, there's no way people are still living like that. Yes, it is. You know, it's just that reality that other people don't see that we see every time when we go into these people's homes, in their communities, and that it still exists, as you guys know, in, you know, 2020.
Right.
So, you know, and I try to break that stigma of, you know, the big reason why I was getting at is me back to community college, you know, at Division I, loved it, loved everything about it. The most frustrating thing with me was I couldn't really directly affect kids, if that makes sense. I couldn't really affect them in a sense to where, you know, I can directly affect and help kids right now at the community college. And because when you get to that Division I level, it's such a business, you know, and it's hard and if you're not working for the right guy, it can be really, really hard. And it can really, really take a toll on you as far as the love of the game, getting torn from you, not wanting to go to practice, not wanting to, you know, go to the games because you can't enjoy in it because it's such a business, you know. Right. You win a big game tonight, you back to work, and you can't even, you know, take time to enjoy it. And the recruiting part of it is just a dog-eat-dog world. And you burning people. I mean, you got to burn some people, burn some bridges to get what you need for your boss, you know. And I think that's the thing with, you know, me and Lance always talk about, man, when you get that opportunity to be a head coach, I don't care what level it's at, you take it. Because you can't put you can't substitute running your own show, man. I don't care if it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever, at a college level, high school level, whatever. There's not enough. You can't put a price tag on being able to run your own show, especially as a black man in our business. I mean, it's hard for us to get just a sniff of it, you know, and behind closed doors when you working your butt off and don't reap any benefits. So, you know, that's my talk to all these young guys about, man. You talk about, I want to be at the Division I level, you know, I don't want to go to D2, D3. I deal with more questions from guys that I know in this business, younger than me, about that's their goal. And I got that. And it runs with the same with the players. You know, man, you don't always got to get to the highest level. And my biggest thing with them is use basketball to get you an education. Don't let basketball use you, son. And if you don't have that mentality when you come in here, you're not going to make it. And because everybody think they're going to go to the league. Right. And it ain't going to happen. You know,
I know Myers had another question for you, Coach.
Yep.
No, actually, I mean, he was on a roll there. It was good. I mean, I was like,
hey, just throw something at me when
like, stop. No. And that's, you know, and it's interesting because you talk about how literally when you're at a D1 school, clearly you are owned by what you do. You know, there is no time for like that really personal growth and things of that nature. And what I was saying to our last guest is I know there has to be a relationship difference that you get to have with your players. You know, they'll probably bring you when they have issues and problems, opposed to from what I've seen, especially I went to University of Iowa, so I'm familiar with the state of Iowa, so to speak.
Oh, no.
I'm a home Hawkeye, right? I can't tell you how many kids would have issues, but they were always fearful of even seeking help or bringing it to their coach's attention because they felt that was going to ruin their opportunity to be able to play or keep their scholarship. So they're held hostage, so to speak.
There's no question. I mean, I see it, have seen it so many times. And, you know, when you out there sitting in somebody's home and you're representing your boss and, you know, and it's the assistants, it's just like my assistants. I tell them, you guys are a representation of me. So when you're in there talking to mom and dad, and it has to be everything that I'm about, everything that when they get on this campus, I got to have the insurance that I'm going to take care of your kid, you know, and it don't always work out like that, you know, and I've been on both sides of it. Work for some guys that have been great. I mean, they do what they're going to sit in that living room and tell mom and dad they're going to do. But at the end of the day, mom and dad's calling, you know, the assistant coach at that level. Hey, man, what's going on? Blah, 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 you know, because the head coach ain't got time for you, you know. And that's why it's all about who you work for. When you're at that level, it's about, and Lance knows that, about who you work for, you know. And we got a lot of guys that are great guys in the business, and you got some that are not, that put a bad name on a lot of guys that do it the right way, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's just in the 2 year, me having the opportunity to come back here, my wife's from around here, so you know, a happy wife make a happy home, you know. Mm-hmm. So I learned that from a lot of old heads that's, you know, I've been around in this business, and, you know, and it continued to, you know, help kids have opportunities. Another one of my big words. If you don't have any opportunities, you have no chance to be successful in this world. I don't care what you're doing. And if I can give you opportunities to be able to go left, right, or straight, that's all I want to do for you. Sure. And now you got to take advantage of it. You know, I can give you 100 ways to take this test, but if you don't go to class and do it, I can't do nothing for you. You know, right. I'm going to give you every opportunity on and off the floor to be successful. And I tell them that from when they get here in August, we don't even talk about basketball until about September or October, because it's about the culture change. It's about being held accountable for being late to class, being late to weights, being late to study hall. And because if we're late to work every morning, we're going to get fired. Mm-hmm. And so I make it a job. I said, this is your job now. So your scholarship opportunities is your job. So when you're late to weights, late to the classroom, late to workouts, late to practice, you're going to get written up. And then you get too many writes up. I'm going to tell you what happens in the real world is you can't feed your family. Mm-hmm. And so when you start putting it in those terms to a lot of kids, they understand. They start to understand, like, man, you know, Coach, you don't see it, but that scholarship is worth about 20 grand. Right. And when you have to start digging in your pocket to pay for things, then it becomes, you know, it becomes a little bit more valuable.
Without a doubt. Once again, we're being joined by Coach Lorenzo Watkins from Southeastern Community College there in Iowa. And Coach, let me ask you specifically, a lot of kids come to junior college because they don't have the grades to qualify. How do you take those kids who are coming into junior college who don't have the academic requirements needed to be on the next level? What do you all do to get them prepared academically, but also still keep their basketball skills developing as well?
Well, a lot of it is time management. A lot of it is having structure, being held accountable for a lot of the situations that they're about to encounter. Having to be somewhere on time. You know, we have countless study hall hours. We have tutors to where for any subject they need is accessible to them at study hall. So there's no way in world that you should be failing a class. There's just you have to want to fail to fail. That's what I tell them. You really, really have to try to fail to fail. And, and you get some guys that, they'll fight it, and don't want to continue to do the things the right way. Is because they never really had to. It's because people have always done things for them to keep them eligible to play basketball. Mm-hmm. And I go, they've done you a disservice, because that's not the real world. And so when I was talking about from August, September, possibly into October, those are the things that we have to iron out. And I don't even talk about, because I feel that if you can't get those things done off the floor, basketball ain't gonna matter, because that means you're not gonna be worth a darn crap in anyway. Right. I can't count on you. I can't count on you to do things right all the time. I can't count on you to go rebound. I can't count on you not to turn the ball over or block out. So I can't even count on you to be to practice at 3:00. You come in at 3:15. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things I try to put into perspective with them. Talk to them about just accountability, man. This is the real world. And when you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you don't have to do nothing but go to class and play ball. You got to take advantage of it, because now somebody's giving you something. Because I guarantee if I gave you $1 million, you'll find a way to do something with that. And it's all about, again, what you put in, what you're gonna get out. You can't go to the bank and take out $1 million. You only put in $10. And that's what I try to tell them. It's about all the hard work you put in. It might not show right now. You got to look at longevity. And how our kids in this day and age right now, it's got to be quick, fast, and a hurry. Mm-hmm. They want it right now. And those are some of the things, I just continue to every day, drill into them. Is just life things about it, things that are going to help you be successful in life, because basketball ain't going to be there for your whole rest. I'm sorry.
This is true.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that though. I said basketball, it's gonna leave. It's gonna go somewhere. I was like, I always tell them, I was in your shoes. Yep, I thought I was gonna make it to the NBA.
well, you know what, Coach? I mean, this pandemic is taking basketball away from a lot of people right now, as it is.
Yeah.
What is the situation like down on the junior college level? I know it's so all over the place, with some states allowing teams to play, others are not. California just passed a law the other day, no contact sports. So the 49ers are now going to have to play their home games in Arizona on the NFL level. So I think of schools like where you are, who don't have the resources to do all this COVID testing every single day. And what's going on with your season? I know what it's done to some of the other schools. What is your current situation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rough, Jason. I tell you what, man, this is, out of the, almost 25 years of doing this has probably been the hardest. And obviously, I think a lot of it is because, let's go, what are these kids coming to college for? To play basketball. And now every day we got to ensure them, but knowing in the back of our mind, it might not happen. So it's just the everyday, talking to them about, hey, you just got to keep doing what you we can't control this. It's about talking about what you can control. Hey, just you got to keep doing what you can control. Go to class, come to practice, keep working out, go into the weight room, do what you can do, and we'll figure all the other stuff out. So that's been my toughest thing to deal with these kids, man, is just because that the hardwood is what pushes them and give them hope to continue in the classroom so they can, move on to a university and be able to get a degree, and so when that's taken away from them, just talking with some other communities, some other 2-year schools, some friends I know, man, they've had kids leaving left and right when they found out it might not be a season. And I just, and so that's just been my drive, is just the positivity, just, being able to, stay positive with them, doing things to just, keep them here, because there ain't nothing at home. I tell them, guys, everything, you got everything you need right here. And with that being said, you got to find that. And always that positive or somebody, that rock at home that you can call and say, hey, man, I need you to make sure you tell your Mike he got to stay here. There's nothing at home. He's down and you're frustrated, don't know if we're going to play. And so that part of it has been tough with the kids. Now, our season has been moved back to January.
Okay.
So basically all winter we can get 5 scrimmage dates. So that's something to keep them, going to where we've had 5 scrimmages, and so the kids, they get to go home December 15th, and then I'll bring them back about the 2nd or 3rd of January, and we can start practice on the 4th. Then our first game is the 20th. So everything is obviously condensed down to 22 games. It was 30. So there'll be some time that we'll play 3 games in a week. So they're going to try to condense all this into March. I mean, from January, February, March, you got to get 22 games in. And usually it's 30 starting the 1st of November. Mm-hmm. So just like everybody else, but we gonna have some problems, with all the testing and stuff. And I think for us, and like not for the D1s where they got to test, in the morning before the game. And see, we ain't got the resources to be doing all that. Yep. So, our testing is this. They taking your temperature. There it is. Yeah. So our kids will get tested when they get back to campus for Christmas break. And then every practice in the morning, they get on the SportsZone app where they got to take their temperature and do their COVID symptoms and all that stuff. If they got a temperature, and all that, then obviously we deal with it. But knock on wood, we have been pretty lucky. Our other sports on campus have had some incidents where we had some kids quarantine and stuff. But basketball, we've been lucky, man. I don't know how, knock on wood, but we haven't had one kid positive or any quarantine situations. Man, everybody in our league has had. They've easily have shut down almost a month.
Wow.
From talking to some guys the last couple of weeks. So it's been real, man. I don't think we'll ever see anything like this, obviously, in our lifetime.
Let's hope.
This will be the only time, too.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Got a couple minutes left here with Coach Watkins. Coach, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you just a couple of really quick questions. In terms of the JUCO championships, how does that typically go? Because I know they have a national tournament for basketball. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that goes and is that possibly going to be going forward here this year? And then the second part of that question is, how many players nationally that go on to Division I start out in JUCO? Like how many players does a Division I program typically take out of the JUCO every year? If you can answer those for me.
So as of now, we actually they just came out and said everything's on course as far as the national tournament to be held in Kansas. So basically, it's all parted out by regions. So Iowa, Texas, Florida, Missouri, Kansas. You basically win your region. You get a trip to Hutchinson, Kansas, and a lot of it's almost the last 5 years they've kind of made it to where now you get automatic bids, kind of like the NCAA. So they're kind of stemming towards doing it more and more like the NCAA, which is great, I thought. It's right now they're like the NCAA. They don't want to lose out on that money for that national tournament coming up in March. So everybody's hopeful, and we're just hoping they get an opportunity. I think a lot of the kids are the same way, and we just keep trying to, with that positivity of just, hey, man, it's going to happen. We just got to keep doing what you got to do because, like we know, every day changes. Every day is different for us. I tell you that much. So,
and how important are JUCO to supplying Division I teams with players?
Huge, man. We just had 2. I think kid got drafted out of John Logan this year. Kid in our league just signed with Kansas, and a kid from John A. Logan just signed with University of Kansas. So, it's, to me, and that's the stick I'm trying, I really, really have to, break it down to a lot of parents. I think we got that bad stigma of, I hate to use this word, but just idiots and bad kids and come to community college. Now, that's not the case.
Right.
I think me having to sit down, it's amazing how many parents I have to sit down and talk to about the things we can offer are the same thing if you go to your freshman or sophomore year at the University of Iowa. I mean, it's the same things. And we get room and board paid for, your tuition paid for, you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you got a dorm room. And we're Division I junior college. So if I'm sitting in your home talking to you about your kids, I go, we're going to offer you everything academically and athletically, the same thing you would get at the University of Iowa. We're just at a 2-year institution. So, and parents will go, what? What do you mean by that? I said, well, your kid might need to get bigger, stronger, faster, or how about a little bit more exposure? And that's the part they don't. Well, my kid, he's been playing with Irvin Fire since, he was in 7th grade, and he ain't getting the exposure that he might need it. And we bump head with prep schools a lot because, a lot of kids will go pay that $7,000-8,000 to go to prep, for another year for exposure, which, I can't knock that because some of those guys do a great job at prep. And, it's the same thing, community college. Now, that's one thing bringing that up is that we're trying to get it to where you don't lose a year by coming here. So if you're a qualifier and you come to community college, you don't lose a year. So now with this COVID deal, now the NJCA is throwing all these things at, the NCAA. It's like, hey, let's, we can try to compete with some of these prep school kids because if I go out and recruit a qualifier, kid out of high school, the only reason he won't come here is because he does not want to lose a year of eligibility. That's the only reason he will go to a prep school and not a community college.
Gotcha.
And that's the argument. I mean, if I'm sitting in my house with my kid, I'm thinking the same thing. I want to play my all 4 years if I have an opportunity to go. If I'm a qualifier, but that's the stick. We try to break that, man. It's just, we get some kids that, throwbacks from Division I or academically, needed a little bit more structure. We know how some of our inner city schools are when, these kids, they just pushing them through. And my wife's an educator and I hear it every day, and I'm in rural Iowa about the same thing goes on in this town with some of these kids in this town. They just want to get them through, want to get them through,
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on, joining us here. We're kind of out of time for this segment, but thanks again for all that you're doing down there on the JUCO level. And we wish you the best of luck, and please stay safe out here during this pandemic. And once again, thank you so much for joining us on What's Up, Cuz. All right.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. It was a privilege. Thanks. I appreciate what you guys doing, getting that word out. I appreciate it a lot, Jace. Y'all have a good one and be safe out there and Shy.
Will do. And I just started taking up golfing, so I've been on the course 8 times. So Lance said you're gonna take me and pay for 18 holes.
Tell them bring you down. We got a nice stay and play casino, everything right here in town.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
Connected.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right,
take care, Coach.
See you guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
All right, that was Coach Lorenzo Watkins from Southeastern Community College on What's Up, Cuz. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
With coronavirus still spreading, people at higher risk must take extra precautions. You're at higher risk if you are over 65 or if you have any serious underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, or if your immune system is compromised for any reason. If you're at higher risk, wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds. Avoid touching your face. Disinfect frequently touched objects. And wash up after being in public spaces. And when it comes to social situations, less is better. Stay 6 feet or 2 arm lengths away from other people. Better still, stay home if you can. If you're sick, please stay home and away from others. And if you think you've been exposed to the virus, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. In challenging times, the choices you make are critical. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
You see me.
You hear me.
Respect me.
Respect. Due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others.
We don't have to agree, but I deserve to be heard. I stand my ground. Respect me.
We don't have to be friends, but I deserve your civility. I stand my ground. Respect me.
You don't have to understand my culture, but I deserve to be authentically myself. I stand my ground. Respect me.
I stand in defiance of your need to make me less in order for you to feel adequate.
I stand.
I stand aware that the America that you see and love today is a result of my free labor.
I stand.
I stand knowing that the contempt you have for me was not instigated by me, but perpetuated by the fear you have of me.
I stand.
I stand surviving your many attempts to emasculate me. Indeed, I thrive despite it.
I stand realizing that you take many things from me, but I will not allow you to take my respect.
I am a man.
I am a proud man.
I am a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputedly, unapologetically a proud black man.
I am authentically, undisputably, unapologetically a proud black man.
Respect me.
I have done more than enough to deserve it, and still you withhold it.
The bill is past due.
You owe me.
Respect me.
Respect me.
Respect me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up, Cuz? I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lance C. Irvin. Cuz, man, I learned a lot speaking with both of our guests that I've had on today, Coach Foster over there at College Dupage, and also Coach Lorenzo out there at Southeastern Community College, man. I mean, I don't think people realize how important those institutions are to the overall growth process of young men and women around this country. And next time we do it, I'm definitely going to get get a coach on who works with female athletes as well, because it's definitely an avenue for them as well.
It is. It's definitely avenue, like you said, for females, and it's an avenue for all of us. And I appreciate the fact that you thought about it, Jason, that we should have on coaches from junior college just so they can tell their story and what junior colleges can do for our kids and stuff. So I'm going to give you credit for having a good idea finally, because your ideas, other than your poll questions, you've been off the chain, like your bag man and all that other stuff. But I mean, shout out to you for having that mindset to have those guys on there.
I appreciate that, cuz I appreciate that. And also just want to say thank you to our guests who were on last week, NBA referee Mark Davis and Northwestern men's basketball head coach Chris Collins. We got such a really positive response after the show from a lot of people who really appreciated us having Mark on specifically, because they never really get to hear a professional referee's point of view on some things and learn Mark's story, how he got started in that line of work too. So shout out to you for helping us bring on some really high quality guests here. Speaking of poll questions, we do have a new one up. So we do want to go over our new poll question for this week. It is in theme of what happened last night. Our weekly poll question is sponsored by the Chicago Crusader Newspaper. You can vote on the poll. Please go vote on the poll too. Just, make sure you all go on there and let your voices be heard. Go to ChicagoCrusader.com to cast your vote. So here's this week's poll question. After watching the Packers demolish the Bears, what did you do after you turned from the game? Your choices are A, started hanging my Christmas lights and or shopping online. B, spent time with your family. C, cussed and then cussed some more. Or D, swore you were done with them until everyone is fired. We also have an E, which is other, which is also on there. So we do have another option, other, and I'm pretty sure other is probably gonna get a lot of votes.
My other was I rubbed my little Killer 7. I played with Killer 7. 7, say hi to everyone, 7. I played with 7. Can't you tell? That's how, you know what? 7 is my girl anyway, but I played with 7 because that was.
You played with 7?
Even 7 wanted to go outside. 7 saw that first half. She was like, "Papa, take me outside." Ain't that right, Seth?
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did better than Joe Biden when playing with your dog. Because poor old Joe, he's killing me. I'm like, man, are you gonna make it to January the 20th?
I'm like, come on, Joe. We don't need you to have those missteps. Joe, tread lightly. We lucky to be getting you in the White House. Now you want to fall and trip or whatever, Joe. No. Wait till you get in the office.
Right. I like, man, get Kamala up in the bullpen. Apparently, she may be sitting there talking about, and I will faithfully execute the duties. Because my man Joe, we were already worried about his mental acumen, and now he's tripping and breaking bones.
Man, Joe, I'm like, Jay, come on, Joe. We don't need that. It's the wrong time. It's like my mother used to tell me, see, you just stubborn. It's the wrong time to be stubborn. Just listen. So I'm like, Joe, stop it. Jay, I thought Maya jumped on the show only like Maya could. Maya went and put her Gucci glasses on. I didn't know who it was at first. I said, Maya went to go put her Gucci's on and all the other stuff. So thanks, Maya. Don't jump on the screen. I'm giving you a compliment.
Let's talk a little bit about a couple other topics that are kind of trending in sports right now. The San Francisco 49ers have moved their last 2 home games of the season. They hammered out a deal today with the Arizona Cardinals franchise. They're going to play their last home games in Arizona, and this is due to a new laws that were passed in California where they are not allowing contact sports, and it affected the 49ers. So they had to find a place to play ball. What are your thoughts on the 49ers now having to play in Arizona?
I mean, Jay, we understand it comes down to, I'm not saying guys don't want to play, but it comes down to money. And you and I both know they had to play those games. But it is a tough situation because those COVID numbers are spiking. So you figured they was going to go somewhere to play, and I figured Arizona was probably the good situation for them to play, and it's warm weather out there. So I would have went for the warm weather. You tell me to get another place. I'm going for the warm weather. It's a friend of mine, Coach Preload, that's the head basketball coach at San Jose State. And he was telling us about that last night, that they're shut down until like December 21st. So we was like, man, y'all probably going to be shut down longer than that because Christmas is around the corner. So they literally can't play in their county. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, man. And, I feel sorry for UCLA and USC and everybody else. But, at the same time, I also don't feel sorry because I said at the beginning, they don't need to be playing these sports like this. You're not going to be able to get the seasons in. You're going to get more people sick and people are going to catch this virus. But, I also know that people are following the money. So that's why that's happening. I'm staying on that thing a little bit. The Baltimore Ravens Pittsburgh Steelers game, which was originally scheduled for what they were supposed to play Thanksgiving night.
Exactly.
No, think about it. They were supposed to play last Thursday for Thanksgiving night, and they moved the game, and then they moved the game again, and they moved it first to Sunday, then they moved it to Tuesday, and then they announced today they're gonna move it to Wednesday. So I think they're gonna play Wednesday. Lance, what are your thoughts on that?
Jay, I'm confused. Like, if you can't play the game, don't play the game. Like, stop trying to force it. You Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, man, just push it. Don't force it. That's a sign telling you, man, this game shouldn't be played.
It really is.
That's just my thought.
Right.
I'll push it. But
Right.
I'm not in the National Football League.
Well, because the thing is, it's going to also back up their schedule because they can't play Wednesday and then you ask these teams to come back and play again on Sunday. They can't.
It's not going to happen. You can't in football Wednesday, Sunday. Somebody is going to get seriously hurt if that happens.
Yeah. And well, the Players Union would never allow it either.
So now you're going to have to reschedule some more games.
Yeah. So we got a few things going on here in the world of sports, which is, pretty much a mess right now. It's very fluid.
I mean, Jason, you can tell the SZC football games moving, all these football games moving, college football. If you look at the schedule, even basketball, I look at the schedule, football, basketball, and college. Cancel football. Cancel. I mean, this COVID is tough. But, I mean, it's different schools, different situations. Everyone has a different situation. I'm not going to knock anyone for playing. I'm not going to knock anyone for not playing. I just want everybody to be safe and understand that what we fooling with and what we dealing with, it's real. And like a friend of mine told me, like I might have said last week, same way we're on basketball, working on our jump shots and working on our plays, COVID doing the same thing. It's working on this game also. So we need to take it serious, listen to our doctors, and listen to the scientists out here in the world today.
I agree. Let's talk a little bit on another subject that we've got kind of going around. We've started the talk, and we'll go back to it and circle back to it on our
Snoop announcing Nate Robinson getting knocked out.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going. So Snoop Dogg has found yet another career he's gonna get into, apparently, sports commentating. So I refuse to fork over the money to watch that fiasco of the fights the other day. But everyone said, while the fights were terrible, listening to Snoop Dogg announce two of the fights was well worth it.
Hey, Jay, your cousin Mikey was texting me, right? Because I said, Mike, I'm not watching, I'm not getting it. So here comes Mike, like, sending us videos. Snoop was like, there's two things you don't fool with, boxing and pimping. And Snoop was like, oh, Lord, help Nate. Oh, Lord, help Nate. Snoop was worth that $50, Jay. Oh, Snoop was good. You gotta see, Snoop was great.
That's what I heard, man. I heard Snoop was what made people go, oh, yeah, this is all right, because they said the fight. So here's what I knew. I was never planning on watching the fight. Even when they announced, I was like, this is some nonsense. Boxing, this is why UFC is better than boxing right now. Because boxing just coming up with any old thing come up with. But what sealed it and what made me say I don't even need to cover this nonsense as a journalist or as a podcast host, when I saw the weigh-in. When I saw them two at the weigh-in.
I missed the weigh-in.
Oh, you happy you are.
What was the weigh-in?
I saw the weigh-in, and in boxing, they go and they take off the thing. And it was just like flabs of stuff showing all over the place. I was like, I don't feel bad about my body right now because this is Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. And they were professional athletes. And I was like, yeah, I just don't need to watch this. And I was grateful the paramedics were not needed for them. True. Can't say that for Nate. But, I was grateful neither one of these two iconic fighters got seriously injured in the fight. They got a little payday. I know some of the money went to charity as well. But, I saw them at the weigh-in, and I was like, this just ain't right, man.
You know what, Jay? I missed that, but they were showing pictures that Nate Robinson looked chiseled. Like, Nate looked cut up. But friends of mine kept texting me during the fight, like, somebody please tell Nate to stop going forward, putting his face out like that.
Yeah.
He was about to get knocked out. 10 seconds later, Nate was knocked out. So basketball players, man, stay away from that boxing stuff now. I mean, do what you do, shoot your jump shots, do all the other stuff. Stay away from boxing. Like, Jack Paul looked so much bigger than Nate. I was like, Nate, like, why? Why do you need the money? I don't think Nate needed the money, but I was like, Nate, that's a bad look.
Right. Well, and first of all, I applaud anyone who's courageous enough to get in the ring with another human being and say, hey, let's do this, because there's a chance you could die anytime you do this by accident. So I applaud him for, doing it if it was something he really wanted to do. But, somebody should have taught him, like, keep your left up, or, like did they teach him to, like, weave? Like, you just don't go in. And I mean, from the highlights I saw, I don't ever think I saw him in any sort of a defensive stance. He just seemed to be like all about charge in.
And Jay, when he fell, I thought he was gonna be seriously hurt, because when he fell, his whole face just like his hands was behind him, and he just like it just hit the ground. I'm like, poor Nate, like some things it's not meant for us to do.
Right. I mean, they call it the sweet science, but I think Nate just got the science part. I don't think it was nothing.
That sweet science alone.
I don't think it was nothing sweet for Nate. I think it was just pure science. Like, if you get hit with this amount of force while you're running in with your face, you're probably gonna get knocked out.
Hey, like how big was Jack Paul? I need to phone a friend to ask him. That's like me, like I'm walking around the house, I got my shirt off like I'm swollen. Your cousin Paula looking at me like, boy, you look like a skinny chicken. Go sit down somewhere. I'm like, look, I'm all buffed up, but nah, you need to go sit down somewhere. I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
Go sit.
That's funny. So, Major League Baseball free agency has opened up. And as I predicted, it's pretty slow. Still big names out there. Exactly. George Springer is still out there. The White Sox catcher, James McCann, is still out there. Although there's reports that the Mets are interested in him. Haven't really had any blockbuster signings. So, that just made Mookie Betts was real smart last year to get his $300 million before the entire economy tanked. And I mean, this is a terrible year to be free agent because ain't no money for the teams to give him.
Man, what's your thoughts on that, Jay? Like, you don't think it's gonna be no like max signing? Nobody get no money this year. Like the Yankees not gonna spend like they normally spend. Like I haven't heard a peep out of free agency in baseball.
I think what we're going to see happen is that George Springer and some of the high-priced free agents are going to try to sign 1-year deals so that they can renegotiate next year when the market is better. The owners, they lost a lot of money this year. First of all, they didn't have a full season. They only played 60 games and then the playoffs. So they lost a lot of revenue. There were no fans at these games, really. How they gonna pay you if they didn't make no money? It's simple economics from that standpoint. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do going forward next year with free agency. I think that's gonna be the year where more people get paid. But George Springer is gonna be on somebody's roster. James McCann is gonna be on somebody's roster. Trevor Bauer is gonna be on the White Sox roster. I'm gonna put it out there, and we're going to get him because that's what we need. And, we can get Trevor Bauer and a right fielder. I'm not too high on Springer, but, if we can get us another outfielder, and here's my thing. If we get an outfielder, we can get Trevor Bauer and somehow sign James McCann because maybe he ain't going to get the money he think. Maybe we can get him on a 1-year deal. I think you're talking about the White Sox being in the World Series.
But, Jay, somebody's going to get some money. We don't know who, but in all these deals, whatever, it's one guy like Fred VanVleet. He got 80-something million. That's 20 million. Justin Tatum got his 5 years, almost 200 million. So somebody in baseball, like you said, Mookie got that money last year. So somebody's gonna get it. I don't know if the Sox are gonna spend like that. What you think? Like, how come the Sox and Cubs really don't spend like that?
Well, the Cubs are cutting salary, so they're trying to.
Theo gone.
Right, Theo gone. They're gonna be trying to trade a lot of people. The White Sox will be the team the White Sox be the team. Yeah, the Cubs. Here's the thing that hurt the Cubs. They went and did all this redesign around Wrigley Field and put up a hotel and all these shops and stuff to make it, a destination for people to come to. And then when people couldn't come to the game, well, you still got to pay them bills. You still got to pay that mortgage for that hotel you just built. You got to pay the lights. You got to pay the gas. The Cubs, as an organization, I'm very concerned for them. They had to lay off, 200 workers? It made me think of our good buddy Julian Green, who was on our show. We probably need to reach out to Julian, and see kind of what's going on. here with the Cubs organization going forward, I don't want to hear about nobody losing their jobs. Period.
Man,
But
what about the TV revenue? Cuz I know they didn't get the tickets, but the TV revenue and the Wrigley's they always making money.
Well, you would think,
like to me.
Well, you would think, but again, when you cancel half of the games, they played 60 games. They lost 60% of the regular season games. They just launched their own TV network to show the Cubs games. Remember, they launched all that stuff this year, and then COVID hit. So the timing was really bad for them from a business standpoint. They weren't even able to get their footing into the ground. The Marquee Network. And I was like, man, well, what are they going to show on the Marquee Network if they don't have no Cubs baseball, So
tough. I mean, you will hopefully they come up with a vaccine and stuff will change this year where they have vaccines out. But hopefully stuff will change this year because if, like the common man, if we go a year or two without making money, we all in a tough situation. So, but man, I'm just sitting here listening to you talk about the Cubs. I'm like, the Cubs don't have money to pay people? I never thought. Who would have thought?
Yeah. It's just some very strange times we're living in. Also, we got the NBA getting ready to start up December 21st, the first regular season game. They should be going into camp here kind of pretty soon, Lance.
Because I think I read where preseason games are going to start about December 8th or the 11th. Around there. So I heard they was going to play like 4 preseason games. I'm looking over their protocol manual, Jay. I'm going to send it to you. They protocol manual is like 135 pages. And I heard like 135 pages. And I heard each team were hiring 5 doctors, putting them on their staff this year.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to do a lot because, the situation now is different. They were able to pull it off because they were in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But now the bubble's not there. You're going to try to do these games. Guys are going to be traveling. These guys are now going to have access to more things and contact with more people than they had in the bubble. Mm-hmm. So I'm just telling you, I'm expecting the COVID cases in the NBA this year to be off the chain.
So what are we doing with hockey, Jay? I haven't heard you talk about
hockey. Is trying to do the same thing, but hockey has pushed theirs back to a January start. Okay. So, they're trying to buy themselves a little bit more time, but, again, the same thing. They were able to pull it off because they were in the bubble. And, now that you don't have that bubble, we don't know what's going to happen. So just a final minute of the show here. I'm just going to ask you and Maya, I'll ask Maya to kind of join me real quick here on this last little subject I just kind of want to talk about. When we did our poll questions earlier in the year, and we talked about the Bears. Remember, we asked, what did you expect from the Bears this year? And someone on this show said the Bears were going to be terrible and that we needed to get rid of everybody. Now, I'm not saying who that was, but someone on this show said that. People laughed at that person. No. Oh, they 5-1. La. And now they're 5-7 or 5-6 or whatever they are. Would you two like to say anything about that particular subject to the person on the show who maybe said that?
I'm ladies first, Maya. Ladies first.
You're on mute, Maya.
She's on mute for a reason. She's not gonna let you gloat.
I said by all means, go.
Where you want me to go, Maya? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Maya, you're not much to have a conversation. We're not gonna give him credit, Maya. So you and I just have a little conversation.
Real talk.
Not giving him credit.
No, give him credit. He said it. My thing is, I didn't expect. People were like Super Bowl and playoffs. I said, you know what? You still have a quarterback issue. All this other stuff just added to the issue. But he said it. Give him his props.
Yeah, he did. And I thought early on we were winning games, which I'm going to take the wins. When people beat me with short-handed team, they take the wins. But with that being said, some of those games, like teams missing starters at 3-4 positions and stuff, and we were finding a way, even though we were winning, we barely winning. But I'm gonna give you credit, cuz you should call that. But I'm not giving up on the season yet.
All right, well, you keep watching.
Well, the season's already given up on you, so I'm not sure. What you waiting on?
I agree.
It's over. This show is over.
Just like this show, it is over.
I set myself up for that.
Yes, you did.
Why you let me set myself up for that?
Yeah, I gotta do something. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go out on a high note. Tell the people who we got coming on next week. Who are our guests next week? Come on,
we have my girl Jill Redman, that's Associate Commissioner of Compliance for the Atlantic 10. We have Cameron Smith. Cam so big time. Cam on every network talking sports, basketball, NFL. It's hard. Cam just started answering my phone calls. He used to answer them all the time. So he done got big time. He finally called me back. Him and we might have another guest on, so we'll see. But
so we might have another guest also.
Everybody next week.
Well, we'll be glad to welcome Cameron and Jill to the show next week. Make sure you all tune in 6:00 Central Time next week to the What's Up Cuz Show.
And
but for now,
what, Jay? I'm bringing my daughter on Brooklyn Irvin. She's gonna grace us with her smile and her charm on the
I'd love to have my cousin
She's
on
gonna
the show.
Open up the show next week.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good to me.
Open it.
So 6:00 next Monday, folks. We'll see you all then. Until then, please wear your mask. Please wash your hands. Please practice social distancing. Please make good decisions as it affects your health and the health of others. Take care. Peace out.